So we'll briefly sum up this, what we have talked about the self-development. So if you look at that, basically as human being, we have these three basic desires: to live with fulfillment, and to live with continuous fulfillment. So to ensure these three things, we need, in order to ensure our will or desire to live, we need physical facility. To live with happiness, we need relationship over and above physical facility. And to live with continuous happiness, we need right understanding over and above relationship and physical facility. So essentially, we need all three of them: the right understanding, the relationship, and physical facility, if we want to live with continuous happiness. Right? So essentially, we can see that ultimately we need to have the right understanding in the self, relationship with human being, physical facility with rest of nature. This in turn will lead to happiness and prosperity for ourselves, and we'll be able to work for happiness and prosperity of others. So this has to be ensured for each one of us and in continuity. So it is important to note here that when we go about contributing meaningfully to the society through the teamwork, what we need to ensure for ourselves is this: the right understanding in the self, the fulfillment and relationship with human being, and physical facility with rest of nature. So this is one aspect, right? This can be reviewed or re-looked at in terms of asking this question as to what is the center of my being, right? What is the center of my being? Right? Where is the source, or where is the focus of my being? So if we are in 6 or 5, we are in trouble. If we are between 4 and 3B, we are still in trouble. Only if we have moved up to 3A, that is, our focus is on relationship, and in relationship ensuring the feeling within. And if we are able to look within ourselves, and there from move from 2C, that is looking at our imagination, the pre-feeling, the thought, the expectation, then looking at our sanskars, and ultimately being centered at the level of pure observer. And ultimately, we have to be at the level of pure observer, which is focusing its attention on space and coexistence. So ultimately, the center of my being has to be the pure observer in coexistence in space, right? With the realization of this coexistence in space. That is where we can be in a state of continuous happiness ultimately. And if we are there, from there we can come down to ensure the right kind of sanskar, the right kind of feelings in myself, and therefore be in a state of harmony, state of fulfillment within the self. And with that feeling, we can have the thought and expectation in line with relationship and harmony. And therefore, our behavior, our work, our participation in the larger order will be fulfilling for ourselves and fulfilling for others. So these are the points where we have to check ourselves, when we are thinking in terms of contributing meaningfully to the society through the teamwork. And you can see that, in other words, what we can say is that we have to ensure that we have these common graduate attributes within ourselves. That is, we have a holistic vision of life, a socially responsible behavior, environmentally responsible work, ethical human conduct, and having the competence and capabilities for maintaining health and hygiene, and respect for excellence and gratitude for all. So all this has to be ensured within our self at the level of the individual. Then only we can meaningfully contribute to the society, right? Through our teamwork. But that does not mean that before you acquire this state of your being, you will not be able to contribute anything. The point is that wherever we are anyway participating in the society in a positive or negative manner. So wherever we are, we start participating, right? And try, making a meaningful participation. But we should also be clear that our participation will be meaningful to the extent we are prepared within our own self. So I have just summed up all this because I thought that when you are going to talk about the team and about doing something meaningful to the society through this teamwork, then this role of the preparation of individual will keep coming again and again. So in that sense, I thought that it will be useful to recall what we have been discussing about the self-development. This is, you are all familiar with, that the full potential of human being, or the ultimately the human conduct with the self-development would ultimately look like this, with the realization of coexistence and understanding of harmony and contemplation of relationship. We will be able to think in terms of working for an undivided society and universal human order through our relationship and our self, our being in harmony with the entire nature. So this is another kind of criterion or yardstick to measure our own progress. How far we have moved in terms of realizing our full human potential and in terms of our conduct as a human being. So with this, we can move on to this fifth team development. So in this session, we are going to talk about the team development. And you can see slowly that this team essentially would be like a family where we are related to each other with a common purpose, okay, and contributing meaningfully to the society. And the ultimate purpose would be to work for the societal development, right? Where we'll have a society in which human goal is fulfilled generation after generation. So in order to contribute for the development of a human society, we have identified our role as bringing the right kind of education and sanskar in the mainstream education. And all the activities and the projects that we are going to talk about, that we have identified, is in the context of ensuring human education for every child in the mainstream. In other words, ensuring holistic, value-based education for every child in the mainstream education. So with this background, let's look at the team. So if you look at the team or the family for that purpose, these are the important points that we have to keep in mind. Number one, there has to be a sense of common purpose. right? So we all in the team has common purpose, a purpose which is clear, which is holistic and human in nature. So we have a clear, holistic and human world vision, which is shared by all the members of the team. And we are able to see that our personal goals are not contrary to the team goal, because ultimately what we want is happiness and prosperity for ourselves, which is an integral part of the human goal that we are working for. This will be fulfilled generation after generation in a human society. So we have the clarity about the society, about the purpose of the society, about the system of the society, and how it can be realized through right education and sanskar. And we can see that if such a society comes into being, then our personal goals are anyway going to be met with. So we need to have a clear, holistic and human world vision shared by all members of the team. Second is acceptance for each other, just as they are, their sanskar as well as their potential, and make effort for mutual development. This is quite, important. Okay. Many things are written in this. They may look very simple, but when you really go to work with these things, you really find it difficult. Okay. So I'll place each one of them. Number one is acceptance for each other, right? And making effort for mutual development. So am I able to accept the other as being related to me, right? Irregardless of what is his present state of being. So just as they are, their sanskar as well as their potential. So if we look at ourselves, we are all very different to begin with. Okay. Because we have different sanskars, different potentials, right? And different practices. So with all that difference, am I able to accept the other as being related to me? And am I making effort for our mutual development? So this feeling of relationship and commitment, feeling like trust and respect. So are we able to ensure this feeling of trust and respect for each other? And based on this feeling of trust and respect, do we have that commitment to live with that trust and respect, irregardless of what is the state of the other person? And if the state of the other person is not satisfactory, then what do I do? Do I work for ensuring the development of the other person, or I react, I think, in terms of rejecting the other? Second thing is leadership by feeling of responsibility and competence for justice and generosity. So this is also very important, that if the team, there are people in the team who are not able to deliver, okay, or their sanskar is not potential enough to um, take up the responsibility and fulfill it, then am I able to take that leadership? And that leadership is by feeling of responsibility and competence for justice and generosity, not by a positional authority, right? So I take the responsibility, right? And I develop the competence to fulfill that responsibility rather than trying to assert my positional authority. Similarly, I don't get carried away by people's powers right? Whether it is financial power or some legal power. So this is important. That number one, I have the feeling of relationship and commitment. So I ensure this trust and respect for the other unconditionally. And second, if the other person is lacking, then I take the responsibility to help the other to evolve himself, to transform himself, right? So that he has the necessary competence. And all this is done by way of relationship and not by way of authority. Third is communication is open, non-violent, and effective. Collective decision making on the basis of what is right. And what is right is, of course, relationship, harmony, and coexistence. This is very interesting, that while you take the responsibility to fulfill that project, that activity, right, or any responsibility in the team or in the family, right, the communication has to be open. It has to be open, it has to be non-violent and effective, because that is the only way in which the other will be able to get sensitized and work for developing himself or herself. Similarly, the decision process should be made collective, right? And it has to be based on what is right. It has to be based on relationship, harmony, and coexistence. Of course, this is a very difficult thing to do. Not all that easy. You all must be have been working on this, and you find how difficult it is. But we have to do it. That's how we will progress ourselves, and will also help the whole team to grow, everyone in the team to grow. The fourth point is the perseverance, the accountability to commitments. So the members complement each other, proactively fill in for each other when needed, and we have the mindset of continuous improvement. So two things, one is that we are all willing to work on ourselves and work for our continuous improvement. And second thing is that in the process, we also complement each other, right? And try to work proactively, right? Fulfilling the gap which is there within us or which is there in the other members of the team. So this, in fact, if you look at the role of the leader in the team, this is the main role. Okay. So I take the responsibility. I develop the competence, in myself. I work for the goal of the team. And in the process, I place everybody, right? And I am able to communicate with them. And, if there is anything lacking in any one of these team member, then I take the responsibility to complement, take the responsibility to help the other work with his own self-development. Ultimately, the team is connected and complementary to each other team. This is also important, that if you look at any team in particular with these four things that we talked about, this team is not an isolated thing. It is a part of the overall purpose that we are working on. Therefore, our team has to be connected to other teams, and it has to be complementary to other teams. Right? And it does not work in an island, because if it works as an island, not only that, it will not be able to contribute in the overall purpose of the societal development, but it may even be contrary to the process. So this is briefly about the team. Some of the details I can just uh, spell out, and if you have any question in the process, you can now ask, because the core thing I have just placed.
Bhaiya, Geeta Di has raised her hand. Can we
Yeah.
from Geeta Ji?
Yes, Geeta ji.
Namaste, Ganesh.
Namaste. Namaste.
Ganesh ji, it is for me to know more about what we actually mean by non-violent.
Yeah. Very simple meaning of non-violent is that when I am communicating with you, if I am sharing with you, am I hurting you? So at least I'm not hurting you. This has to be ensured. I am not being violent to the other. This is the minimum. Because if I'm hurting to the other, then the communication will not continue. It will stop. Right? Unless you are very developed, you will get into reaction. Right?
Namaste, Bhaiya.
So the whole, I'll just take a minute. The whole process will get, kind of broken. So at least I have to make sure that I'm not hurting you. Okay. Of course, more is expected, but at least this much is expected, that when I'm communicating with you, I'm not hurting you. And there are many things about how I can take care of this. Yeah. Somebody was mentioning something. Yes.
Namaste, Bhaiya.
Namaste.
Yes. Means it's time, sometime we shout at students. That is non-violent. No? The communication will break. Does it mean same? What you say?
Yeah, you have to see. In fact, if I am shouting at the students, first I have to see what is my condition of the being. Am I comfortable
Yes.
within, or am I uncomfortable within?
Yes, yes. Means if we shout or scold the students, we will communication will break down. That's why we should not shout at them. We should go peacefully with them. So real feedback will come to us. That is right, Bhaiya.
Yeah, I'm not saying you should not do this or you should not do that. I'm
I have to.
saying, making it more simple for you to ask that when I am shouting at the students, what is my state of being? Am I comfortable within or
No,
uncomfortable within?
very uncomfortable.
Yeah. So if I'm uncomfortable
Very
within and
uncomfortable.
shouting at the
Uncomfortable.
other, it
I
will
am
also
well.
make the other uncomfortable.
Yes, it will make me uncomfortable and communication will break down. Yes,
Yeah.
Bhaiya. Thank you.
So that is one thing. More important than that is that, am I able to see that there are other ways of communicating than shouting?
Yes, we have to also find another way to resolve
Yes.
the problems.
So if we are responsible, then we'll try to find out the alternative ways of doing this.
Okay, Bhaiya. Thank you.
Yeah.
Ganesh Bhaiya.
Okay, we'll get back to Geeta ji. Yes, you have something to say, Geeta ji?
Ji, Bhaiya. Actually, they are not using harsh words,
Yeah.
but they are not fulfilling my opinion or my choice. In that way, I feel that is also a non-violent communication, Bhaiya. Harsh words are not used, but my
Hmm.
choices are not recognized. My
Yes.
willingness is not.
Yeah, in fact, when you really have that feeling of relationship, and you are is feeling responsible towards the other, then many of these things will come. For example, today what is happening is that we don't even listen to the other. So a student is trying to say something, we don't listen to the students. My friend is trying to say something, I don't listen to my friend. I have my own decision and I want to go by it. And I want that the other should also go by it. If that is happening, somewhere or the other, I'm going to hurt this other person. Isn't it? So all that, those details that we are going to talk about essentially has to do with this thing, that we are not feeling that relationship with the other, and I'm not being responsible to that.
Bhaiya, I have one doubt, Bhaiya, in this regard. Good evening, Bhaiya.
Yeah.
Actually, like I could understand, Bhaiya, that the hurting others, in the view of correcting their mistakes, I am shouting at my family level. I am shouting on them, like in the view of correcting their mistake. By the time, yes, I am hurting them. That I am understanding after few minutes. This we are hurting them, but our motto is to make the particular like correct their mistakes, but they are hurting. So that by the time if you are like as you said, I am checking, I am not comfortable. So next time I am just trying that. Okay, we need not to do like that. So as far as that feeling part is concerned, Bhaiya, because if one or two time it is okay, third time I am doing the same. As far as the feeling part is concerned, like once again, Bhaiya. Uh, am I audible, ma'am?
Yeah.
As far as the feeling part is concerned, what feeling I should work on it to develop that feeling, like of love or gratitude or something, so that I can easily solve this problem of hurting others. What feeling I should have on that particular person, so that I will tell them in right way.
Yeah. So the two feelings that we talked about,
Yeah.
one is the trust, the other is the respect.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
These two, if we have, then with that feeling of trust,
Okay. Bhaiya.
instead of feeling hurt by the other or hurting the other, I will think in terms of how to develop the competence in the other, how to be complementary to the other,
Okay. Bhaiya. Okay.
right? Rather than doubting the intention of the other. Isn't it?
Okay. Bhaiya. Okay. Bhaiya.
Bhaiya, many hands was raised.
Yeah, we can take up the next question.
Yeah, Tara Prasnaji, you would like to put forward your question?
जी. Namaste, sir. Namaste to everyone. Sir, pertaining to the point number 3, where we are talking about in a team, we need communication to be open, non-violent, and effective, and collective decision making on the basis of what is right. So, in this regard, when in a team we are making a decision, so it's like the decision may not be in terms of relationship or harmony in the coexistence, it is not in that direction, but it is a majority decision. So in that kind of situation, how can we deal with? We come across this kind of situation in most of the time of our day-to-day work. So when we are working in a team, so in a team as a 10-member team, 7 members are saying something, and that may not be in light of relationship, harmony, and coexistence. And say 3 members are saying in that. So in such kind of situation, how this collective decision means will establish relationship, harmony, and coexistence.
That is why I first recalled this issue of personal development.
Ji.
The first thing that is required for each one of us to have the right understanding, or at least have the feeling of relationship for each other. So unless we have that, it really becomes very difficult to work as a team. Okay. And in that team, it becomes very difficult to take a decision, a collective decision, on the basis of what is right, on the basis of relationship, harmony, and coexistence. So that preparation of each of the member is essential. So best thing is that we have the right understanding, then relationship, and the readiness to work for the physical facility. But if you don't have the right understanding, at least some members don't have the right understanding, then at least each member has to have that feeling of relationship. Then only we can really work as a member of the team, or as a team we can work. So that requirement is there. If somebody is not having even that competence, what do? Then I take the responsibility to develop that competence in the other. And in the meantime, right, I try to be complementary to the other and try, explaining to the other as to what is going to be the right decision. Okay. So instead of imposing my decision, I will certainly keep appealing for it. And in the meantime, we have to go by a decision which is not decided on the basis of what is right collectively. Then maybe for the time being, I go by it because I'm not able to draw the attention of the other person, okay, and make the other person understand and accept. So I go by it, but I keep working to improve the competence of the other person.
Ji, sir. Thank you so much, sir. Ji. And in this context also, like the first point also gets defeated. The common purpose doesn't remain. Once, and there are conflict on in a particular point, or if it is not in the direction of relationship, harmony, and coexistence. Ji, sir.
Yeah.
Quite clear. Yes, sir.
True.
Yes.
I mean, my personal experience is that I find that given the circumstance, certain thing can be done at this point of time. Okay.
Yes.
But
Yes.
many of my colleagues are not able to see that. They feel that it is, not important at this juncture of time and conditions. So I keep mentioning about it, and I continue to wait for years sometime. But I keep mentioning with the expectation that people will pay attention to it and reflect on it. And sometime if they find that, yes, it is making sense, they will accept it, and, it can be made a part of the collective decision. But till then, I have to wait, and I have to keep, drawing their attention, and whatever, everyone is thinking is necessary and feasible, we go by that.
Yes, yes, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
I
Ganesh.
remember when we are conducting the first workshop for UP Technical University in 2009, there were around 55 faculty members from different colleges of UP Technical University. And the first day, most of them were saying that, why do you want to increase our load? And how do you expect us to teach human values to the students of a private engineering college? Many of them said that if you go and teach this course to the students on human values, they will say, you go and teach this human values to our, owner of the college, because he is exploiting us. So that is how it had started. And for next 4 days, it went on like that. But we kept listening to them and explaining them. And in the meantime, we went ahead with the content. And by the 4th day, some of them started saying that, okay, what you are saying is making sense for our own self and for our family. So irregardless of whether we go and teach this to the students or not, at least we will work on it, at our personal level and at the level of family. And that made a lot of difference. And by the 8th day, many of them said that it is making sense. Okay. And irregardless of whether the students will pay attention to it or not, it is useful. And we will work on it. So that's how we started, in 2009. Now in 2025, there are, few thousand people who are into it, and they are able to see the meaning of it, the purpose of it, and they are able to invest their time and effort, right? So it takes time, but you have to work with that sense of responsibility and sense of relationship, a feeling of responsibility, feeling of relationship. Yeah.
Ganesh, Soumya ji's hand is raised for so long, so can we listen from her?
Yes, yes.
Soumya ji, over to you.
Thank you, Didi. Namaste, sir.
Namaste, namaste. How are you?
Sir, I'm fine, sir. Thank
Yes.
you.
Yeah.
Sir, I have a question. Sir, I lack in the right evaluation part and the expression part.
Yeah.
While I feel that, I'm trying to be complementarity with my team. So kindly help me.
Yeah. See, the important thing is that you have the feeling for the other and you want to be complementary to the other. That is important, I would say. Now, the problem is that you are not able to make the right evaluation of the other, right? Or maybe you are not able to make the right evaluation of yourself. Then what do we do? I think, what we can do is we can take time to evaluate ourselves and evaluate the other. In the meantime, I can at least express to the other that I have that trust on you and I want to be complementary to you. But I would like to share my evaluation about your competence. And if there is something wrong in it, you can update it. You can modify it. And similarly, I have certain evaluation about myself. So I will also place that evaluation. And you can tell me about your opinion, right? So that we can help each other to appropriately evaluate our competence. I think if we do that, the other person, instead of uh, feeling that gap, will become a help to understand my, evaluation of the other, and he will also help me to modify it as and when necessary. So that feeling is important. And with that feeling, if we can share with the other that this is the feeling I have and this is what I'm trying to do with you, but it is not successful, then the other person will be very considerate. That's my feeling. And one
Ji, sir.
important thing in this process is that, you have to develop this capacity to listen to the other. I mean, my personal experience has been that instead of telling the other, I spend a lot of time listening to the other. So whomsoever I meet, I give him enough time to tell about himself, right? So even if he is telling about somebody else or giving opinion about some activity or some happening, I listen to the other to the extent that I'm able to get a feeling about how he looks at the world, how he looks at himself, right? So all these things about the other person I'm able to get by listening to the other very patiently. And after that, I can certainly tell him or her that this is what I, feel about you, and this is what I want to share with you. But, you feel free to tell me whether I'm able to communicate this or not able to communicate. Whether my evaluation about your competence, my evaluation about my competence is proper or it is not proper. So if I do that, it will help. Yeah, that's my feeling.
Sir, thank you so much. I will surely work on it. But I can see that now I have, I would say that, wrong sanskars, and I think it will surely take time. But I think I will decide now to work on it. Thank you very much.
Yes, yes.
Ganesh Bhaiya, I have a question. When this communication is open, then it is like I'm trying to point out um, the current competence of the other. Anyway, it's gonna hurt them. Say, for example, I feel there is a little unfair evaluation between the people. Then that for one people there is a favorism kind of thing is happening. For the other people, it is not happening. Because of this, which I could able to observe, I have got the feeling of opposition with that person. I'm evaluating the person with the current competence. So if I'm pointing out, even though it's good, it's a fairness, but it's anyhow going to hurt them, because when we are keeping this communications open, whatever is going through in my mind, if I start communicating, it's gonna hurt the other one, right, Bhaiya? And without this right understanding, which is without the right understanding, how can I have this right feeling? Because if we try to have these feelings continuously within us, we require this right understanding within us continuously. And if this trust and respect, if I can able to see within me continuously for my own self, what is my intention and competence, then I can be having it for everyone. But this is my current level of competence that I couldn't able to see it continuously. If there is a tense situation, mind situation, I try to avoid outside, but within there is some kind of reaction is still there within my feelings. But that one, it's accumulating all these feelings together and bursting like anything, Bhaiya. So
Yes.
how to deal with it?
Yeah. In fact, see, this whole exercise that we are doing is going both way. One is going from below to the top. The other is coming down from top to the bottom. That is,
Okay, Bhaiya.
we start with the behavior part and
Mm-hmm.
try to fix the feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And then when we find that this feeling is not getting fixed, we
Mm.
realize that something has to be done with the understanding part. And therefore we go for the understanding part. Okay. So this is one way to go about.
Okay, Bhaiya.
Second part is that we go for the understanding, we ensure the right understanding in ourselves. And then from there we come down to ensure the right feeling for everyone. And from there we come down further to express it in terms of our behavior and work. Now what we are doing is that in the process of education and sanskar, it will work both way.
Okay, Bhaiya.
So when we are talking about this for the team, we are saying best thing is that we have the right understanding and the right feeling for everyone. And then we are working as a team, right? Other thing is that we have the commitment for it. We feel that yes, this is worth doing it. And we start doing it and we find that it is not working or we don't have the competence. Then we, work for developing that competence.
Okay, Bhaiya.
So it will go both way. And one of the interesting observation with the whole team, over last almost 20 years, we have been working as a team. We have found that those faculty members who have attended the workshop and they have started working only with themselves, their progress is not that much compared to those who have started working as a team and started contributing in the process of this value education, right?
Okay, Bhaiya.
Their development has been much faster than the faculty members who took to themselves that first we will complete ourselves and then work for the society, for the team. So it is both way, when we are working as a team, it helps us to draw our attention towards ourselves, that we need to work for developing our own competence.
Okay, Bhaiya.
And when we have developed the competence, we can work better as a team. So this is, kind of mutually fulfilling, mutually reinforcing. In fact, in the very beginning, this question was there that, when do we share with the students? When we have developed the competence to the fullest, or we can start any time in between. And that is the time we suggested that let us start as a facilitator, not as a teacher. So we have a good proposal. We are working with the proposal. We are trying to explore within ourselves when we find it meaningful. And therefore, we are sharing it with the students as a proposal. And we can work together as a co-explorer. So that was the idea, and it did work. That those who went as a co-explorer with the students, it was quite helpful for the students, and it was more, useful for the faculty member who was there as a co-explorer. This most of us would have realized that if a teacher is not teaching this course, not sharing, then his progress is relatively less as compared to those who are into it. Isn't it?
Understood, Bhaiya.
Yeah.
Nice, Bhaiya. Bhaiya, in this positional authority, how to deal with this, Bhaiya? Because when we wanted to have a discussion and there is a domination in the name of authority, most of the time, instead of being a help or being with them, I also want to withdraw from the process. At least having the connection with them or helping in that particular process, I just want to withdraw myself and having that feeling, not to dominate back. But earlier I do this domination, but now maximum time it's a lot of withdrawal with this positional authority.
Yeah. So this, I think that it is a process. Okay. First,
Okay.
I was reacting, right? Now I am withdrawing. That means I need to develop more competence now.
Okay.
I remember when we started this whole process, in 2003. We have till then, until now, we have faced many such conditions, okay, situations. And every time we decided that, okay, among the team members, we'll go by relationship rather than by positional authority. Okay. So it took little time, but it worked. And it worked to the extent that now we have a team of almost 500, volunteers all over the country. Okay. And many of us have not met each other. Right.
True.
And there is no positional authority because, it's all going by relationship. Okay. So without any so-called monetary, returns, people are spending their, kind of putting their time and efforts, okay, for this common purpose, out of this feeling of being related to each other through this common purpose. So that is very interesting, Of course, it has taken time, but it has become possible that the whole UHB team, I mean, everybody is working by way of their clarity and relationship and commitment. I mean, we still need a lot of improvements, true. But it is a good example in itself that it can be done.
True, Bhaiya. That I can able to see.
Yes.
Ji, Bhaiya. Thank you so much, Bhaiya.